breeding on that part of the surface of the continent of the present Africa. Although the expectations that I had formed from all that our countrymen had told me concerning the mentioned new observatory there, before I had seen it with my own eyes, were not justified, nevertheless, the observatory itself and also the other construction of the beings then of that region proved to be exceedingly ingenious and provided data for the enrichment of my common presence by a great deal of productive information for my consciousness. And in order that you may clearly represent to yourself and understand how these various constructions were then erected by the three-brained beings of this region for the welfare of their being existence, I think it will be enough if I explain to you in as great detail as possible how the particularity of their ingenious practical invention was manifested in respect of their new observatory, on account of which I decided to visit that region. For this purpose, I must first of all inform you of two facts connected with the change in the common presences of these three-brained beings who have taken your fancy. The first fact is that at the outset, while they were still existing normally, that is, as it is in general becoming to all three-brained beings to exist, and while they had what is called Olues Tesnochnian sight, they could also perceive at a distance proper to be perceived by ordinary three-brained beings the visibility of all great as well as small cosmic concentrations existing beyond them during every process of the omnipresent Okitanoch, which proceeded in their atmosphere. In addition, those of them who were consciously perfected and had thereby brought the sensibility of the perception of their organ of sight, like three-brained beings everywhere else, up to what is called the Olues Ultra Tesnochnian state, acquired the possibility of perceiving also the visibility of all these cosmic units situated at the same distance, which arise and have their further existence dependent upon the crystallizations localized directly from the sacred Theomert Malokos, that is to say, from the emanations of our most holy Son Absolute. And later, when the same constant, abnormal conditions of ordinary being existence were finally established, as a consequence of great nature was compelled, for reasons of which I've already once told you, among other limitations, also to degenerate the functioning of their organ of sight into what is called Koret Tosnochnian, that is to say, into the state proper to the presences of one-brained and two-brained beings. Then, thereafter, they were able to perceive the visibility of their great as well as their small concentrations, situated beyond them only when the sacred process Aieoyoa proceeded in the omnipresent active element Okitanoch, in the atmosphere of their planet, or as they themselves say, according to their understanding and their own perceptions, on dark nights. And the second fact, by virtue of the same degeneration of their sight into Koret Tesnochnian, is based on that law common to all beings, namely, that the results obtained from every manifestation of the omnipresent Okitanoch are perceived by the organs of sight only when in immediate contact with those vibrations which are formed in beings and which actualize the functioning of the being organ for perceiving, at the given moment, the visibility of cosmic concentrations situated beyond them. That is to say, only when the said results of the manifestation of the omnipresent Okitanoch proceed up to the limit beyond which, according to the quality of the given organ for perceiving visibility, what is called the momentum of the impulse dies down, or, To put it otherwise, they perceive the visibility of objects only when almost next to them. But if these results take place beyond the mentioned limit, then this manifestation does not at all extend to those beings in whose presences there are organs for the perception of visibility, formed only by the results of the totality of istoklanos. Here, it is very opportune to repeat one of the profound sayings seldom used there of our Mullah Nasruddin, which very neatly defines the given case, that is, to this degree of the limitation of the perception of visibility of your contemporary favorites. This wise saying of his, seldom used there, consists of the following words: "Show me the elephant the blind man has seen, and only then will I believe that you have really seen a fly." Well then, my boy, thanks to that artificial adaptation which I had there seen for the observation of other cosmic concentrations, and which was being constructed in that future Egypt on the initiative issuing from the reasons of the remote descendants of the member beings of that learned society, Akaldam. Any one of these unfortunate favorites of yours, in spite of the Koretes Nochnian sight, which had long before become inherent to them, could nevertheless acquire the ability to perceive freely, at any time, as they say, of the day and night, the visibility of all those remote cosmic concentrations which in the process of the general cosmic harmonious movement come within the sphere of the horizon of their observation. In order to overcome this limitation of their organ of the perception of visibility, they then invented the following. Their Tescahuano, or telescope, the construction of which, it must here be said, passed to them also from their remote ancestors, they did not fix on the surface of their planet, as was usually done there and is still done now, but they placed this Tescahuano very deep within the planet, and they carried out their observations of the cosmic concentrations found beyond the atmosphere of their planet through specially bored pike-like hollows. The observatory I then saw had 5 of these hollows. They began in relation to the horizon, from different places of the surface of the planet occupied by the observatory, but they all met at a small underground common hollow, which was something like a cave. From there, the specialists, then called astrologers, made their observations for the purpose of studying, as I've already told you, the visible presences and results of the reciprocal action of other cosmic concentrations belonging to their own solar system, as well as to other systems of the great universe. They made these observations of theirs through any one of the mentioned hollows, which looked out in different directions onto their horizon, according to the given position of their planet, relative to the cosmic concentration observed in the process of the common cosmic harmonious movement. I repeat, my boy, that although the chief peculiarity of the observatory constructed there by the 3-brained beings of the future Egypt proved not to be new to me, since this principle had also been utilized in my observatory on Mars, with only this difference, that my 7 long pipes were fixed not within the planet, but on it. Nevertheless, all their innovations were so interesting in detail that, for any case that might arise, I even made during my stay there a detailed sketch of everything I saw, and later even used something of it for my own observatory. And as regards the other constructions there, I shall perhaps tell you about them in detail sometime later. But